Good, happy Wednesday evening. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, we begin with breaking news. One student dead, three injured after high school shooting in Washington State. Police are on the scene of a deadly shooting at Freeman High School in Rockford, Washington, just south of Spokane. The Spokane County Sheriff's Office say three victims have been transported to Scarborough Heart Medical Center for treatment. The three pediatric patients are reported to be in stable condition and doing well, according to Scarred Heart Hospital officials. There is one confirmed fatality, a student who was pronounced dead at the scene. The names of the victims have not been released. A suspect is reported to be in custody. Authorities have not said if a shooter was a student at the school. The shooting began around 10 a.m. PST time. Police have not said how long the shooting lasted or how many shots were fired by the gunman. A live interview at Freeman High School student claims that the shooter was a student who came into the school carrying a black bag, set it down, and started shooting. The student claims the alleged shooter was his friend and passed around notes that said he was planning on doing something dumb that would get him killed or sent to jail. Police have not confirmed the allegations made by the student in the interview. Spokane School says all public schools in the area have been placed in a full lockdown as a precaution measure. The lockdown was later lifted at 11:25 a.m. PST time. Law enforcement officials conducted a floor-by-floor sweep of the building. The Spokane Sheriff's Office is expected to provide more information at a news conference sometime on Wednesday afternoon. The Spokane Review report that the school did a modified lockdown drill on Tuesday. A parent of a Freeman Middle School student told the paper that students were running into buildings and that an alarm was sounding when she pulled up to the school around 10:15 a.m. Cheryl Morris said her son, a freshman at Freeman High School, called her from a classroom after hearing shots fired. Stephanie told the Associated Press that she was relieved to hear her son was safe after his high school near Freeman was put on lockdown. She condemned the school district for its communication with parents. She's still worried for others she knew, including a coworker who had yet to hear from her son, a sophomore at Freeman. Washington Governor Jay tweeted out a statement calling the shooting heartbreaking. This is a developing story. Check back for updates. Man saw stepson shoot kill mother in hospital, affidavit says. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9.
When U.S. Army soldiers take the field.
And this is raw video in the courtroom today. A man accused of shooting and killing his 70-year-old mother at Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center brought a handgun into the intensive care unit and fired several shots at her before turning and leaving without saying a word, investigators said Wednesday. Travis Frank, 48, of Warwick, Rhode Island, is charged with first-degree murder in the death of Pamela Ferrer, 70, of Orton, New Hampshire. Investigators said Frank admitted that he drove to the hospital Tuesday with the intent of killing his mother. According to an affidavit released by the Attorney General's office, a nurse called 911 about 1:30 p.m. after she saw Frank holding a gun. The nurse said she ran and hid before she heard 2 gunshots followed by screams. Frank's stepfather, Robert Ferreira, told police that Frank asked if he could speak alone with his mother, who was in the ICU after suffering an amnesia. His mother said it was okay, but as the stepfather was leaving the room, he heard Pamela Ferreira shout or scream something, according to the affidavit. Robert Ferreira turned and saw Frank pointed a gun at his mother before firing several shots, investigators said. Robert told investigators that Frank then put the gun into a bag and walked by him without saying a word, according to the affidavit. An autopsy showed that Pamela was shot 4 times, suffering wounds to her chest, abdomen, and pelvis. Areas of the facility were evacuated as more than 100 first responders arrived at the medical center. No one else was hurt, and Frank was arrested while he was trying to leave the grounds. According to the affidavit, Frank waived his Miranda rights and admitted that he drove up from Rhode Island with the plan to kill his mother and that he shot her several times. Pamela was scheduled to be discharged from the hospital this Friday. Frank pleaded not guilty at his arraignment Wednesday, and a judge ordered him to be held without bail. He was also ordered to have no contact with his stepfather. Dr. Mitch Hickok Medical Center was back open today. David Ortiz agrees to long-term deal with Boston Red Sox. David Ortiz is back with the Boston Red Sox, just not as a player. The team announced Wednesday that the 3-time World Series champion agreed to a deal that should link him with the organization forever. In his new role, The Red Sox said Ortiz will act as a mentor for current players, help in recruitment efforts, make special appearances, and work for Fenway Sports Management in a business development capacity. Red Sox chairman Tom Werner said this deal with Ortiz is the first time the franchise has made a commitment of this kind or lethally to a player, retired or active. The 10-time All-Star known as Big Papi joined the Red Sox in 2003 after he was released by the Minnesota Twins. Another Red Sox legend, Pedro Martinez, is credited with being the catalyst that brought Ortiz to Boston. Ortiz retired from baseball in 2016 after the Red Sox were eliminating in Game 3 of the American League Division Series against the Cleveland Indians. His number 34 was retired by the club on June 23rd and is the 11th number to be retired by the Red Sox. Maine police officer struck with heroin-laced needle. Police said a Wisconsin officer was struck with a needle while doing a search Sunday. On their Facebook page, police wrote the officer was struck with a heroin-laced needle. It happened Sunday in the Winnipeg Elementary School parking lot after the officer pulled someone over for speeding. Winnipeg Police Chief Jeff Lang said both the officer and the suspect were taken to Mid-Coast Hospital for a rapid HIV test. Lang said the test came back negative, but they were waiting for hepatitis results. The suspect was arrested on an outstanding warrant and charged with assault on a police officer. In 2016, 376 people died from drug overdoses compared to 272 in 2015. According to the data from Maine Attorney General's office, the influx of fentanyl, a powerful painkiller that can be deadly in small quantities, is contributing to the increase. And now let's take a look at your stock market and see how your stock market did for this Wednesday. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the green and went up. Your S&P 500 Index closed in the green and went up. Your Nasdaq closed in the green and went up. RUSS 2K closed in the green and went up. And VIX closed in the red and went down. Stocks close at record highs as tech losses are offset by energy gains. U.S. stocks closed slightly higher on Wednesday, notching record highs as gain in the energy sector offset losses in tech. Eight dead at nursing home after Irma knocks out air conditioner. Eight people are dead after Hurricane Irma knocked out air conditioner at a nursing home in Hollywood, Florida, according to ABC affiliate WPLG. While the cause of their death were not immediately clear, the facility rehabilitation center at Hollywood Hills evacuated all its residents to hospitals because of the cooling problem. Most of the patients were treated for respiratory distress, dehydration, and heart-related issues, officials said. Officials said 18 additional patients from an adjoining facility were also relocated because of the investigation, though patients were not medically composed. And that does it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Wednesday evening. I'll be back here at 7 p.m. for your 7 p.m. newscast. Good night, everyone.